From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief digital strategist at Stunning Digital Marketing. In today's show, I have Adam McLaughlin with me, and we're going to talk about his new service, Piece of Cake Video. Sit back, relax, enjoy. The SDM show is brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, the digital marketing concierge that helps you put all your marketing pieces together. We are your marketing experts. We are also your WordPress security experts and know how to lock down a website and protect yourself from bad actors. So contact us at Stunning Digital Marketing today. Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here, and today I'm here with my good friend Adam McLaughlin. Hey Adam, how you doing, man?
Hey Rob, thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure. The problem you and I have is we can talk for hours and never get to a record, and that's just the way it goes, right? I
It's a
mean, yeah.
gift.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we share a lot of the same interests. We share a lot of the same business interests, a lot of the same philosophy, so it's easy. And you are coming to us from sunny Hawaii just to make the world jealous today.
I am. I usually don't disclose my location just because it makes people upset, but today
Too
I'm
bad.
I'm happy to
Too
tell
bad.
you where I am.
Yeah, yeah. You said that to me a week ago, and I just was like, I just want to kill you. But that's okay, you know.
Oh,
So,
it gets worse as the Canadian weather gets colder. Then people
you
really
know,
don't want to know you're in Hawaii.
yeah, so what I tell you is, I don't know if I've told you this. I grew up in Montreal in the 70s, and those were days when we got big snowbanks. And I mean, even Quebec winters aren't as bad anymore. And one of my things was, this stuff doesn't faze me. I mean, you and I, before we went to record, we were talking about Niagara Falls a little bit and how I'm going up there to celebrate an anniversary in November. And I got to tell you, Niagara Falls is almost more prettier in the winter than in the summer, honest to God.
Yeah, it
So,
is pretty amazing. The pictures are great, but the temperature's not. So,
yeah, I can remember I've got one of the best pictures I ever took. I took a picture of the Skylon Tower, if you know the Skylon, that's like and it's got a rainbow and to a boat, and everybody swears it's a postcard. It's not. And I shot it on a digital camera years ago, like 10 years ago. And what you don't see is it was minus 16 with the wind chill up in the tower, whipping around.
yeah.
Excuse me, it's the way it goes. So, um, today you've done a multitude of things. One is you do websites as a service, basically, right? You've been
Yeah,
doing
that's
that for
right.
a long time. And today I thought we'd jump into your new venture, videos for social media for like small and medium businesses. So why the project?
Well, I had a client who's asking me about, getting more traffic to their website.
Yep.
And they said, I don't want to necessarily invest a large budget into ads.
Mhm.
And that this person isn't a great writer, but really great on camera. So they said, well, how about I could create some video content for social media, kind of blurb some of the blog content I have or some of my products or services, and then post that on social media. So great. So then they contacted me the second week and they're like, I've run out of ideas. I've said everything I need to say. And I said, well, that's not true. Let's have a conversation. So I started asking them about their business and, who's their target audience and what's a recent win they've had and who do they best serve and what kind of situation can they really help a client with. I secretly recorded that call with them and then I chopped it up into vertical clips and I sent it back to them and they said, "Oh my goodness, I've got like 3 weeks worth of content now." And I said, "Well, that's, the best part of it is some of that content is evergreen. It could be reused over and over and over." And so then they said, "Okay, well, let's do this every month." And that's when I realized, hey, I've got a service here that I could be helping people make videos and make
Yep.
it a piece of cake. And so
Now,
that's kind of where the name Piece of Cake Videos came from.
Yeah, and there's a couple things you mentioned. Short video clips. So we all know that long videos don't do well in this typically. So people, especially with the younger generation, now you and I are a little bit older, and we get longer. And I'm yeah, but it's true. We tend to consume more long form content, but the younger generation is in the short content. So that's number one. And Instagram and YouTube with shorts and Instagram Reels actually favor short-term videos, don't they?
Yeah, so we could see that the longer form the content, the more likely it is to be consumed audio only. So, for instance, a 1 hour podcast, somebody will listen to that while they're on their evening walk or on their commute home or something like that. They'll put it on the radio, or for me, I listen to podcasts at night while I'm poking at a game on my phone while I'm unwinding. Like that's how I consume it. But the likelihood of me sitting there watching a 3 hour conversation by video, very, very low. And so video is great in the shorter sense, audio is great in the longer sense. But what we find is video is kind of the Costco sample to the full interview. So for instance, if we took these clips of this video call here, and we might grab a 2 minute clip and put it on Instagram, and someone goes, "Oh, that's really interesting. I wonder what else Rob asked Adam." And then we could always link to the longer form on YouTube. So it's kind of a top of funnel thing, the short form video. Teasing
No,
blog posts, teasing products, teasing services, teasing consulting, showing your expertise, a quick tip. All those things are really great content for getting attention on social media to push somebody to longer form or more information or request a quote or pushing them to the next step down the funnel.
yeah, I agree with you. I mean, and the proof is in the pudding. I've taken done one recently just because I've been so slammed in a way, but the um I often will take one or two short videos a week and just I'll literally take 5 minutes and just record one or two, and then out they go. And I would say most times they're less than 90 seconds. It'll be a short tip or a short comment. And the views on YouTube Shorts are ridiculous. Like, I mean, ridiculous. We're talking 300, 400, 500. And we're not talking in 5 minutes. We're not talking in days. We're talking in hours and minutes. Like, it's just, and that alone is compelling.
Yeah, and some people like you are really great on camera and you could stare down a camera
Thanks.
and give a 90 second and it looks natural, it feels like a FaceTime conversation and I really get to know who Rob is. For other people, that's not exactly the case.
Mhm.
And so for them to stare down their camera, it's like staring down a blank screen, right? A blank page. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to say. Their eyes are awkward. They're saying ums and ahs. They're doing 14 takes for a 90-second video because they think they have to redo it and it has to be perfect and I can't look away and I can't roll my eyes. Adam's guilty of that. But to be able to say, hey, let's jump on a video call. Let's have a conversation. How's your day going? How's your coffee this morning? How's your weather? Also, tell me about a recent win with a client. It just becomes a conversation. It makes it easy to turn that into content that becomes very relatable rather than structured or scripted or, kind of rigid.
Yeah, there's still a lot for authentication. And I think the problem with doing all this high production stuff, and even with this podcast, like, I don't do a lot of editing. And everybody says to me, why? And I say, because I want it to come across as authentic. So
Yeah.
I deliberately, I mean, I add headers and trailers and a dedication and stuff like that, but I generally like it to be authentic. And there's something said for authentic content that's not scripted and planned. It's one of the reasons I've never given you a question ahead of time because
Right.
I just want us to have a conversation, right? I know.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're talking about a field where somebody is making a choice, a client is making a choice based on personality, right? So if I'm going to buy a house in any city, there's 7 dozen realtors I could work with. Well, why would I work with a certain one? Well, because I've got a referral or because I connect with their personality. And even with a referral, I'm not working with them if I don't then connect with their personality. So video is a way to get in
Yeah.
front of somebody and show them your personality. Same with coaches or consultants or
I'll give
mentors or
I'll give you
speakers.
I'll give you a better one. If you're seeking out any mental health help, and I'm going to be really transparent. My partner and I see a counselor pretty well a couple times a month because it's good for us. And what I'll tell you is our counselor is leaving the company she's with and she's going on her own. And she said to us last night, I can't tell you what to do ethically, but I can tell you what I'm doing. And we looked at her on the call we were on and said, we're in. So let us know what your next move is when you make it. And we're going with because we really like it. But one of the point I'm making is one of the reasons we do business with people is because we like who they are.
Yeah. And you can create all kinds of great video content to show off your products or services or talk
Yeah.
about how many houses you sold last month or how many conferences you've keynoted. But if somebody doesn't resonate with you personally, none of that stuff is going to play as much of a factor as, this kind of conversation.
Yeah. And in the real estate business, I mean, I have a mother that came out of it. My mom's basically, she sells a few houses. She's 80, but she's basically retired. So you might do one. Last year she did three or four just because she wanted to. She's kept her license. My late aunt, was one of the biggest Century 21 successful brokers in the Detroit, Michigan suburbs for years.
Wow.
That business is even tougher because that business is set up to benefit the broker, not the agent. And I've been calling for years. Once we get through some of this regulation stuff, and there's stuff happening in Ontario with RICO, the real estate board, and fraud right now that's going to turn this industry upside down. That once we get through that, the brokerage model about to go the way of the dodo bird, the same way the taxi cab business went with Uber. So, I mean, I think this is even more important in that business because it's so competitive, but it's not in the agent's best interest, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a guy to help him with his marketing, and he comes across as cuddly as a cactus. And he was frustrated because he would do an open house. Somebody would come in and meet him, and then they would call his office and ask for another agent to show them the house they saw at the open house because they liked the house, but they didn't want to deal with him. And it
But
just
that's
kind of
that.
resonates. Yeah.
But that's actually a no-no because in the real estate business in Ontario, and most areas, if you're the agent who showed the house first, that's your client in that house. So that's part of the problem too. You have to prove it, but that's an issue as well. So you can't unless you walk in that open house with your agent, and then that's a different ballgame.
Yeah. Yeah. And the
Yeah,
reality is, we don't make any recommendations or any purchases that we don't trust. Like, trust is the
yeah,
foundation if you want
yeah.
me to pull out my wallet. So I'm not eating at a restaurant I don't trust. I'm not getting a haircut
Mm,
from a hairdresser I don't trust. I'm not even going to buy a tube of toothpaste from a brand I don't trust. And so at
yep.
the end of the day, the face value of video kind of builds trust way before you ever get to give me your stats on sales or your commission percentage or your speaking fee or your
Hmm.
counseling history. So
Yeah.
trust really gets emphasized when you can have what seems like a face-to-face conversation, and I find it way more natural to do it this way than to try and script it.
Yeah, so true. And then the more you do it or you work with somebody, then the trust builds, and we know where that goes. So that's really good. Um, how long does it take you to break up the clips? Like once you do a video, so say you record with client A for an hour, you get what you
Yep.
think is 5 or 6 good clips. How long does it take you?
So we're using a few different AI programs to help us generate clips. Now, kind of, I'm kind of giving the AI a vacation. It's kind of a beach day for the AI because really, um, all they're doing is cutting the answers. So it looks for a break between when the person started answering and ended answering, and then that's their clip. So I've kind of given them a bit of a holiday. But then I want to go in and I want to make sure like names are spelled right, brands are spelled
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
If they refer to an author, I'm going to go double check the author spelling of their name for the captions. Because the captions really matter. A massive percentage of videos are watched on silent right now, or at least started on silent, and some people turn on the volume if they're interested in hearing the rest. So everything has to be captioned, and then a description that goes along with the social media post. And of course, we schedule it all out for the client. So, all in, we're about 2 to 3 hours, and we can get more efficient as we train the AI. Hey, spell Steven's name with a V, not a PH. And so now
Yeah.
future clips hold on to that, correction. So it does get more efficient. And then, as we're scheduling out content, we're scheduling out evergreen content. So again, by about month 4 or 5 of somebody's subscription, they're getting daily social media content, and their only contribution is an hour to the process.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you charge for it? Do you charge by the video, by the job, by the subscription? Which route do you go?
Yeah, we have a monthly service. So if somebody wants to just do a campaign, or they're launching a book or launching a product, then they could just sign up for the 1 month. That'll give them an hour of a video call plus the clips. But typically we're going by month, and there is an annual discount, of course, if somebody wants to do the 12 months at a time. And really, like, as well as I do, you're not getting any traction on social media in less than 90 days, especially if you've gone from never posting to starting to post. So we really do try and get our clients to commit to 90 days of let's do this and see the progress and see the interactions before we make an evaluation about this does or doesn't work for the person I'm trying to reach.
Yeah, and that's fair. It takes, I would say, it even takes longer than 90 days personally, but that's my opinion. The other thing you got to watch real carefully when you're scheduling videos is because you go and you produce the clips and then you schedule is you got to be prepared to pull back content. What happens if that video that you and your client did contravened something that came out in the media that day? You almost got to be prepared to pull that back. And I've seen brands be tone deaf, and these are Fortune 500 brands who know better, and they,
Yeah.
they let that clip go, and it's like, and then they wonder why the internet explodes. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, part of our service is that we do schedule out those clips, and we are doing active social media monitoring. So, for instance, we had somebody who was they help not for profit. I'm trying to be discreet, but also give you the full picture. They
yeah,
help a
go
not
on.
for profit overseas, and that overseas area experienced a natural disaster. So
Yeah,
we're not going to now post like, "Hey, support our not for profit on this day." No, what they need is disaster relief today, right?
yeah, you
And
you
so
get one of them. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So we're actively monitoring what we're posting, how we're posting, and as far as time of day and best scheduled content, we do have some AI models, and that's part of our premium service is that the client gets all those tools wrapped in, so they know Thursday at 9 a.m. a 15-second video performs better than Tuesday at 2 p.m. where a minute and a half video performs better for whatever reason. Who knows really? But we do
yeah.
use tools to try and figure that out.
And what I would say to you is you've used those two dreaded letters a lot in this conversation. That's AI. And
Yeah.
people either like AI or they hate AI. And there's a lot of people that are on the verge of saying, well, I'm going to lose my job. I don't buy that. I
Yeah.
actually think what AI is doing is making smart people like you and I, our jobs easier. I use AI every day, all day. I have a Gemini window opened. I mean, I use it everything from these podcasts to logo rebranding to generating a video to you name it. It all depends on what I'm after, right? It's just making our
Yes.
jobs easier.
Yeah, so I've got two rules about AI as far as it goes with pieceofcakevideos.com. So the first rule is that AI never gets us further than 60% in the process. So we
Yeah,
always know we never take a clip, export it, and publish. Like we're double checking captions, we're watching it back, we're making some modifications, we're adjusting the volume of the background audio, or we're adjusting the contrast or something like
yeah.
that. So we never just copy and paste. It's not, we do a 1 hour conversation, run it through AI and que sera sera on the clips. And
I
then the second,
wish.
yeah, yeah, me too, kind of. I mean, the second piece of it is that, the 60% is we have to write a description for every video that we post, right? You can't just write it. You can't just post without a hashtag or without a description or without a teaser, without a hook. So that again can be suggested by AI, but really has to be chosen and selected by us to match your target audience. So that's it. So the first part is AI never gets us more than 60% of the way there. And the second part is that if you were to have a video editor manually editing an hour content into 10 to 12 vertical clips with captions and background audio, making each one unique, making sure they're the right clip length, writing the description, you're talking now about nearly a full-time job. And if
Yeah.
you're going to pay somebody for a full-time job, go for it. But I can help you create a month worth of video content in an hour for, $3.99. So, we can push back on AI and great, and let's have that conversation, but it's there for efficiency for us.
No, I agree. Um, Video on YouTube. YouTube uses and they're handy for SEO called an SRT file. You're probably
Yeah.
quite aware. Do you bother creating the SRT files, or do you see no value in it?
I don't, because we embed our captions directly into the video, so they're in the video file itself.
Yeah.
The SRT file is valuable if you have a multilingual audience because it can work with the translation software and overlay, for instance, a Spanish subtitle on your English video without interfering with the captions. So in some client aspects, maybe that is valuable, but for most of our clients, their native language is what they want captioned, and that's the audience they're trying to reach. And you know, value sometimes we haven't really found a use case where it's
Mm.
enough value to put in the effort.
Are you doing any that are not native English?
No, because I can't interview anybody who's not native English. But as our team
Yeah.
grows, we definitely see that as a possibility, right? So,
Yeah.
um, in a longer term perspective, we'd really like to have somebody in, nearly every continent who can do the interviewing in actual daytime hours,
Yeah.
for people on that content. So I've got a network of clients all over the world, and it's always like, okay, I'm going to do an 11 p.m. video call. For them, it's the middle of their business day, for instance, or a 3 p.m. video call is 9 a.m. or something like this.
Oh, I know.
Um,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, yeah. So to have the opportunity, and again, for listeners who haven't heard me on previous podcasts, my wife and I travel full time since 2018. We've taken our three boys to 18 countries and counting. Number 19 coming up next week. We're heading
We
to
won't talk.
Australia.
We won't. Australia, you beat me to it. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that really screws up your dealing with your North American clients because you're a 12 to
It's
14-hour time zone
it's
difference.
it's going to make things interesting, but I also know enough people who are really great at conducting an interview that could easily fill that gap and then just provide us the video file, which we can make sure that gets processed properly and the clients, get scheduled at times when their audience, there's no point scheduling your short form clips every day at 4 in the morning wherever you are locally, right? And so we have to use our scheduling software to make sure that all lines up. So there's ways around that. But part of that can easily be somebody from, South America, for instance, who speaks Spanish and Portuguese and can help clients there. And then you need the editor also to be able to speak those languages because they're going to have to verify captions. So um, that's definitely an expansion option, but we're just not there yet. I think there's enough people in the English speaking world who are looking to create video content that we can serve at least to start.
Yeah. And I think kind of video is still, for a couple of years, has been all the rage, right? So I think it's still there. I mean, one of the things I did in the last year was I took this podcast video. I don't just use the audio. And people say, why?
Yeah.
And I say, well, even though it's long form content, there's still some people who like the video. And
Yeah.
that's just the reality of it all.
Well, there's a piece of the pie also in creating that funnel with Costco samples. So for instance, what we'll do for you is we'll take this video and I'll process and I'll edit it into vertical clips. So then hey, you can see what piece of cake video does. But for anybody who's watching and or listening, but what we'll do is then we can create a top of funnel piece. So we could push people to YouTube, we could push people to wherever they want to get it audio wise. If you have the video, you could post the video, the long form video to Facebook. And even if it only got 25 viewers, that's 25 viewers you weren't going to get by just posting the
Yep.
audio to a
Yep.
podcast platform. Same with YouTube. If it gets 10 viewers and 10 viewers a year from now, and someone goes, hey, that piece of cake video is pretty cool service, maybe I'll subscribe. Well, I mean, that's kind of like passive content going on in the future that just doesn't carry the same weight if you throw a logo with audio on YouTube.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say is if you're gonna repurpose your video as audio, create the video first, generate the audio from the video, not the other way around. It becomes a real pain. There's some really cool tools out there. And the one that comes to mind right off top is Video Line Player, VLC. Will actually strip the video out and create an MP3 file right from it. You don't even have to do the work. It does it to do an hour video. It takes you 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, if you start with the most amount of content, so video and audio, you can always pull the
yeah,
audio out of that. You can always create
that's right.
clips from the video. It's hard to generate that if you have audio.
Yeah, I always say start at the highest level and then come down, not the other way around. Right.
Yeah, it makes
So
sense.
um so $3.99 a month for the service. I take it that's US dollars. That's
Yeah, so we do have a 199 a month. So 199 a month is we do the video call, we make the edits and we send you the clips. You can schedule them out however you'd like. Next package is $3.99 a month, and that's where we're using our AI tools to do the scheduling, to find the optimal time of day for each different clip type. And then also, part of that scheduling is we mark some of those videos as evergreen. So let's say we get 10 clips in month one, 10 videos, 10 days. By month two, we could mark 5 of those clips evergreen. So now you still do your 1 hour call, but month two, you're going to get 15 clips that go out on your social media channels. And by month three, you could have 20 clips. And by month four, 25 clips. And by month five, you have a month worth of social media content that keeps going out. Now, some people will go, hey, I don't want my audience seeing the same clip every single month. And the reality is only 5% or 10% of the people that follow you actually saw that clip the first time. Plus
yep,
consider all the people who are following you now who didn't follow you 5 months ago. Plus consider the people who liked the video 5 months ago. They're going to love the reminder now. So it's really, for some people, it's a mindset shift. But
yep,
really, by month 4 or 5, you're still just committing 1 hour a month to a video call with me. But the reality is you're getting daily video social media content for that same $3.99 a month. And then we
yep.
do have a package that's $9.99 a month, and what that includes is YouTube content. So we can publish longer form content. Some answers might be 7 minutes long when I ask, "Hey, who's your target audience?" or "Who's you're serving?" or "Tell me about a win you had this month in your business." Some clients will give me a 10-minute answer, which is great. Too long for a short clip, but perfect for long form on YouTube. And so that $1,000 a month gives you $9.99 a month gives you YouTube content plus 4 social media channels, plus all that recurring stuff. Like we'll do shorts on YouTube. And then if you really want, we could turn some of that YouTube content into blog content. We could publish a newsletter for you. We could do the full marketing package around that 1 hour video. And of course, those are all custom based on who your audience is and how you want to reach them and what we need to do to effectively reach that audience for you.
Yeah, and that's like evergreening your content. You build the video and you reuse it to do multiple things. And that's what marketers have to get through is we don't have to keep reinventing the wheel all the time. In terms of information, where do they go to sign up or find out more?
Sign up at or find out more at pieceofcakevideos.com. Really, my goal is to make video content a piece of cake. Your only commitment is an hour a month and obviously your financial investment, but then we can take it completely from there.
Yeah. Thanks, Adam. Good luck with the project. Have an amazing day, my friend.
Thanks
Take
for
care.
having me, Rob.
My pleasure. Talk soon. Bye. This podcast has been brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, your digital marketing concierge to help the business owner put all his pieces together, whether it's email marketing WordPress security, WordPress design and development, PPC, and more. Tech, stunning digital marketing for all your digital marketing needs today. Very special thank you to Adam for joining me on this edition of the SDM Show. The SDM Show is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I miss you very much every day. My mother, Ann Cairns, who's still doing really well and is an inspiration. And of course, Tiz Maroney. And Tiz, I know I've said it, but thank you so much for all the inspiration you give me every day.